Y'all know what it is. It's the usual suspect 650-50 draw. Buy your tickets now for your chance at winning half the pot. Cash App, $, usual 50-50. Tickets are on sale for $10 for one, $20 for 3 tickets, and $50 for 10 tickets. Put your desired amount, name or alias, as well as your email address, and your tickets will be set. We announce the winning ticket numbers every other Friday on Supreme Beats Boxing Talk Bullshitting on the Beltway, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Remaining proceeds will go directly to the LDBC meet and greet in Las Vegas. Shout out to the LDBC, and remember,
it's a usual suspect day.
Y'all know what it is. It's the Find the Boxer game. Purchase a box for a chance at winning $500. One of 54 boxes has a missing boxer inside. Purchase your box or boxes by Cash Apping, $, usual 50-50. Include your box number, name, and email address. Your box number will be confirmed and sent directly to your email. Each box is $20, with a 1 in 54 chance of winning. Remaining proceeds will go directly to the LDBC meet and greet in Las Vegas. Shout out to the LDBC, and remember,
it's a usual suspect day.
We offer the best grooming colors for you, for you. Dress on natural and handcrafted too. We wanna help be a swagger, style, class, and luxury. Make our products tailor-made for you with high quality. Yeah. So get in style with the black, yeah. Company, give you swagger, style, class, and luxury. In luxury, yeah. Black, gentleman, black, yeah. Company, give you swagger, style, class, and luxury. In luxury, yeah.
Located at www.theblackgent.com.
Yo, yo, yo. What's good? What's good? It's Stormybman, and I am back. Welcoming you to Answering the Bell with Stormybman, our Sunday morning call-in show for this Sunday, April 6th, 2025. This is number 161 in the series of call-ins, and we're coming out of another weekend that was filled full of boxing to the rafters. And we get a chance maybe to talk a little bit about those cards and maybe what's on the horizon and a little bit of what might be on your mind this Sunday morning. That's what the call-in show is about. You want to have a little boxing conversation, huh? So, welcome everybody. I hope that you got up in your proper frame of mind this morning, that you were blessed to be with us this morning. So I acknowledge my blessings because we don't have to be here, but at the same time you have an appreciation for the opportunity to once again commune with friends and those who are of like-mindedness when it comes down to this beloved sport of boxing. Yeah. Please smash the like button as you come into the building. We'll get a chance to start exploring, our thoughts on the subject at hand. I'd like to know from you guys, how many of you got a chance to watch a little bit of everything? Some of y'all, because of the advancement of technology, may have been able to watch everything all at once. I'm not up to all of that. Stormy don't have all of that, ability to do that. And plus, I be trying to give so much attention to one broadcast, being in tune to what I'm watching. It's kind of tough, but then I'll try to go back and watch what I missed. And in the event of the Pro Box TV card, I have to say that I wasn't able to go back and finish that card off because I fell asleep. I be asleep. You understand? It's like you get a little tired, man. It get late. But see, that's what they do to us when they overlap us with these cards and everything. Spread them out, man. Friday night, Saturday night, and maybe a Sunday afternoon. You know what I'm saying? It's like they ain't all got to be on the same damn day. Come on. No. You know what I mean? Spread it out. Spread that love. And Pro Box, what the hell are you doing? Get your ass back on Wednesday night, man, because that's in the middle of the week and people be looking for something. And I don't do no lives on Wednesday. So we can watch some boxing in the middle of the week too. Because we used to love Tuesday night fights, Friday night fights, huh? So, get your ass back on Wednesday, man. Seriously. I'm just saying. You know what I mean? I'm just saying. Some people might not feel the same, but hey, they need to get back on Wednesdays, man. And everybody don't have that, that ability to watch everything all at the same time. It's okay with those UK cards be on when they do, because for our time zone, that's kind of early in the day for us. So it gives us kind of like an early afternoon seasoning of boxing, because it'd be nighttime over there and we just be getting going in the afternoon over here. And then when we have the American broadcast where it's the evening, okay, cool. But then when you talk about Tim Zoo and them trying to be over there in Australia, and they didn't even wait till nighttime, which would have been this morning for us, right? No, they doing it in the afternoon over there. Did you see him walking to the ring? He walked out, it was like afternoon. He's going for a stroll coming out of his dressing chambers. I'm like, see, this is what they be doing. They be trying to compete with other broadcasts, but they don't realize that they hurt themselves in the long run with the sport by doing that type of foolishness. Huh? Yeah, that's what they do. They be trying to compete, man. I don't know why they do that, man. I don't know why they be doing that. So, you know. But I wish they get back on the real, you know, of spreading it out, because that'll make it easier on all of us. It really would, you know. But overall, you can't help but to enjoy that we are being flooded pretty much with boxing. And with what's going on with the Zone, my goodness. The Zone is having so much boxing. It's like they're now broadcasting fighters. I don't even know who these guys are. You know what I mean? They just flooding the market with boxing. So, you know. But let me take a quick roll call, see who we got in the building, man. Like I said again, if you didn't hear me, I want to welcome everybody that's coming to the building this morning. Appreciate you being here with me, because you didn't have to be. Ravens Nation, early in the morning, what's happening? We got Shawalaya out there saying blessings, Stormy in chat. Right back at you, sister. Antonio MMA is out there saying salute, Sensei. Mr. Shelton, LDBC or nothing, is out there saying rah! Yes, sir. Acondo, what's happening with you, man? Cheers to you as well. And Universal Truth is back saying salute, Sensei in chat. Freedom's March in the building saying yo. And also Freedom's March is out there in that Cash App, man. We appreciate you this morning, Freedom's March, with your Cash App donation, man. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. We appreciate you. Yes. Yeah. Boy, I tell you. I'm gonna see if I could put a poll up for you guys to see. Let's see. This should be pretty simple, this poll. Let's see here. Let's see. Putting this poll together for you guys. See here. And there was one more. What was that last card, you guys? Oh, there we go. I put that poll up there for you guys. We put the poll up there. Let's see here. Okay, we got 267 calling. What's on your mind? Who's calling?
What's up, Stormybman? It's me, B-Mac.
B-Mac, what's happening? Even though I hadn't opened the call lines yet, F plus for B-Mac this morning, calling in before I even tell the people.
Well, this is what happened. I've been so out of it with working overtime, and I just walked out the gym, and I always checked to see if you won. You was on. I just called up.
Hey, it's okay.
Listen to you. I didn't hit the like button or nothing. So
No, look here. It's all good, but you just give me an opportunity to make a joke because it's okay. But it was just an opportunity for me to go after you and give somebody something to laugh about. But no, it's okay. It's all good, brother. How you doing this morning?
I've been listening in action, man. I ain't been listening to you and a couple other people, man. I've been lost.
No, it's all good, man. Welcome to the show this morning, man. How you feel?
I'm alright. I can't complain. I've been missing all the fights, too. They come on too late. I fall asleep.
Yeah, man. It's like, you know what's funny? If they would just spread it out Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we'd be great. You know what I mean? Because you can have a full weekend, and that's what people kind of enjoy, because even if you can't catch each and every one of them, you'll have something over one of those. Because over the course of one of those days, you probably have space for something like boxing, and it ain't on. You know what I mean? Or it's too much on in one particular spot, and then you can't enjoy it that way, you know?
No, you can't. It's too much. It's too much, and it's too late. I'm old now. I fall asleep.
That's what I was saying. In between trying to watch the cards, do a post-fight show, and another card is getting ready to start, I'm like, man, I need 2 lives. You know what I'm saying? To cover everything. And that ain't a complaint. It's just the reality. It's like, because I get old when my sleep come down now. Yeah. Well, listen, my sleep come down now. It'd be like a drug, a narcotic. You know, it's like you be trying to hold your eyelids open. Next thing you know, it's the next day. You know what I'm saying?
When they have those fight cards, I got to take a nap in between what fight I don't want to see.
Right, exactly.
That much. So I can have enough for the main event. I got to take a nap. I got to set an alarm. I got to take a nap. It's horrible. I'm horrible, man. I'm an old man now.
Yeah, and if you don't do that, you're going to miss everything because you'll sleep right through it, you know?
That's what happened. That's why I don't know what's going on. I missed the Benavidez Bivol fight. Now, that came on early. But I forgot it came on early.
Yeah.
Missed that. I missed the Tank Davis fight. I looked at the whole fight card. As soon as Tank walked out, I wake up and Tank is getting interviewed at the end of the fight. Like that. And then everybody in the gym told me what happened. I'm looking at highlights, trying to listen to your post-fight, trying to see what's going on, man.
Yeah, I
I'm
feel
just lost.
you.
I can't even talk.
Yeah, so what's on your mind?
Hurt on that blow when he took it, but he was hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I looked at it, he was hurt. He played it off real nice, though. I got to learn that.
Yeah, he tried to play it off. But what's on your mind, man? Let's talk some boxing. What's on your mind?
What are we talking now? What are we talking about?
Well, I'm just opening up the show, really. But I just put a poll in the chat that says pretty much which fight card yesterday gave you the most of what you wanted, because we had 4 cards: Torres versus Vianello, the heavyweights, on ESPN. Then you had Zoo versus Spencer, which came on Amazon Prime TV. And then you had Salas versus Cruz, which was a Pro Box TV broadcast on YouTube. And then you had Joyce versus Hergovic, another heavyweight card that was on DAZN earlier in the day. So we had 4 major broadcasts. And the first 3 of those that I mentioned were all on in the evening, but Joyce and Hergovic was on earlier in the day. So it was a day full of boxing yesterday. So did you see anything? Which card did you see?
Nothing.
You didn't see nothing?
I didn't see nothing yesterday.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
I turned it on late, and I didn't even, when it was coming out, the main event with Tenzu when he was coming out, and that was it. I fell asleep. I forgot who was on because I was busy all that day, working all this overtime and everything. It threw me all off. I got to get more organized.
Well, amazingly,
I'm the wrong caller to call in. I don't know what's going on.
No. It's okay. What's amazing about the poll that I put up out of the 4 cards, which is asking the people which card gave you what you wanted, 43% are saying Zoo versus Spencer. And I thought that was horrible because of the way Joey Spencer ended fighting in there. I didn't like that at all, but it's 43% that the people are picking that as the card that gave them what they wanted. If you ask me,
because he got knocked out, right?
Who, Spencer?
Yeah, did he get knocked out?
Well, his corner threw in the towel, I think in the 5th round or something like that, 4th round, where he just kind of like he gave up or something. He wasn't fighting back. I don't know. It was a weird thing. I talked about it on the post-fight show last night, and I don't really want to talk about that too much because that was an entire showcase for Tim Tszyu, which they seem to make this guy like a rock star or something over there in Australia. His fights are like events where they come out to celebrate him or something. It's some weird Masonic crap going on with that. I don't know, man. And it's no, I'm serious.
I didn't know he had a big fan base.
But it was in his home country. That's what I'm trying to tell you. And the way that they market him over there is like he's representing something. I don't know, man, because he's not even at the level his dad was. You know what I'm saying? But it's like they celebrate, and it kind of is eerily creepy, like what the UK does with Joshua. Joshua can do no wrong, man, and he's not the best heavyweight over there. You know what I'm saying? And they know it. And it's like you got other guys who have been champion and they don't even look at those guys. They're still looking at AJ. You know, AJ may be coming back. You know, AJ was injured, but he's coming. It's like, you got a guy who's a champ right now. You're looking at AJ. It's crazy, man. I don't understand it. But they are, and don't forget this part about AJ. His hype ain't even the real, because it's like, they found out that Ed Hearn was like skimming tickets and stuff like that for his fights, buying them up and reselling them and all that. It was like his stardom wasn't even real, bro. But they ate that stuff up. Oh, he's gonna sell out Wembley, but the Wembley tickets are like $30. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Get the fuck out of here. Yeah. You can sell out anywhere if you give people a cheap ticket like that, right?
Yeah. I mean, everywhere where it's high is only over here. Everywhere else is like $30. Everywhere around the world. I guess we the slow ones.
Man, I don't know, man. But listen, the fight that gave me what I wanted most, even though it looked like watching an old Universal Monster picture, was Joyce versus Hergovic. Man, them two big giant monsters in there swinging slow. I don't know who was the slowest. Probably Joyce. But Hergovic ain't but a couple of steps behind or ahead, depending on if you're on the receiving end or the giving end. But them two big old dinosaurs, man, they were in there. I swear it was like watching 1933 version of King Kong and Godzilla. But it was, and my goodness, man.
How much they weigh?
Huh?
How much they weigh?
Hergovic weighed 250 something, and Joyce was 270 something.
Big guy.
Yeah, but you know what? But not in shape though. The both of them are like 6'6", okay? So their dimensions are right along the side of each other. But why are you coming in at doggone 300 pounds? Because this is the question that I posed on the post-fight show yesterday. I said, if they weighed in that much, how much did they go into camp weighing before they got in shape? Or in that type of shape, because I don't consider that shape, okay? But Not only that, what are they walking around at? You understand? Man,
300 pounds?
you cannot be your best being that heavy, brother. And it don't have nothing to do with bone density. He's big boned and all. No, he's a greedy pig that don't want to get in shape. And the trainers are horrible because they accept that stuff. You cannot be in my gym and be a contending fighter coming in upwards of 300 pounds, bro, in the heavyweight division. Because you might as well be the slab of meat that's on the hook that Rocky be punching on. You understand? It's ridiculous. And these guys, it's like both of them are around the same size of Lennox Lewis. Lennox Lewis wasn't 250 and 260, 270 pounds.
No.
Lennox was 240. Listen, Lennox was 240. I think his highest was 245, something like that, 246 in one of his fights. But when he was really at his best, he was 235 and 240.
Yeah.
Strong enough to be on your feet with balance and strength, and agile enough to be able to move around the ring as necessary. You know what I mean? Anything over that, man, you're a lardo. You're a lardo. You're out of shape. Salute to Coach Hudson out there in the chat. He says these fighters don't do road work on the regular like they should. Floyd did road work in and out of count. Yeah, if you're a professional fighter, road work should be a part of your daily routine, regardless of if you've got a fight on the horizon or if you're in between fights or whatever. And typically, if you have hand injuries and shoulder injuries and things of that nature, which a lot of fighters end up with, through the course of their career, the road work is the one thing that you could do that is going to keep your condition and your wind up. These two guys, Hergovic and Joyce, they were blowing in round 2, bro. They were. But I guarantee you, if it was a buffet to see who could finish the table first, they would have been competing like piranhas. You understand? It's ridiculous.
If you're in between fights and you're not fighting, how often you should do the road work?
Every day.
Every day?
Yeah. You should get up and run every day. And even if you're not running outside, get on the treadmill. What's the excuse now? They didn't have treadmills back in the days of Ali and Frazier and them guys. They didn't have treadmills then. They had to get on the road. And a lot of those guys in the old days, they was running in combat boots. They got shoes and everything that you can put on your feet now that help protect your feet, your ankles, your Achilles, your hamstrings and everything, right? So what's the excuse? No, these guys rather sit at that table and finish putting glaze on the biscuits and everything and then, wake me up at 2, Alfred. I'm like, what? It's like, dude, you fat as it is. It's ridiculous, man. Imagine Tyson, imagine Tyson and Holyfield with bellies over their trunks trying to fight each other the way they might look right now when they were in their primes fighting 30 years ago. Think about that. You see those guys, they were cut and they were ripped. You know what I'm saying? In shape, muscular, and not from like lifting weights and stuff, but because that's how they trained and got in condition. These dudes here, they don't even have an ab. I didn't say have abs. I said they don't even have an ab. They got a barrel. You understand? A barrel. They look like the thing that the harness that the trainer wear for them to be punching on when they be in the ring, punching that big harness he have on his body and everything. That's what they look like.
They don't want the work hurts. They don't want to do it.
It's crazy, man. It's,
That's the fight game. It's a hurt game. That's why a lot of them can't take it. Even if you win, it hurts.
I listened to the Hergovic. He was doing the post-fight interview. And they asked him, when would you like to be back in the ring? And he said, oh, maybe about like October or December. I'm like, what?
6 months from now, huh?
What is he going to do in all of that time? You understand? At the buffet, at the damn family picnic, at the dinner dates and everything.
He's supposed to be ready in another 3 months.
He's supposed to be ready when those cuts heal. He got a couple cuts that, cut open up in the second round of the fight. So, okay, it's obvious that he got bad scar tissue. So that's going to be something he'll have to deal with the rest of his career, because some guys are just like that. They'll bleed when they come out for the ring walk. So it's like, if he know that, guess what? As soon as the cuts heal, and you need anywhere from 90 to 100 days for a cut to heal, okay? 90 to 100 days. That's why they got headgear and nose guard headgear, so when you're in there, you start sparring and stuff to protect yourself. There's no excuses, man. But boy, they can make them. And it is like, you look at their so-called coaches and trainers, and they be right there and don't even hold them account. I don't know, man. I can't do it. That's why when people say, well, Stormy, if you was coaching me, why didn't you just, because a lot of what I believe in is very, very old school. And it's like, I can't be a part of foolishness. I just can't, man.
Yeah. You got young workers like at the job now. My job changes rules because of the young people don't want to do what they supposed to do. So they got to alter the rules. They got to modify it. So I see it leaking over in the fighters too, in sports.
But I'm going to tell you something. Those who decide to modify the rules, not only should they be gone, but the ones that don't want to adhere to the rules should be gone. And you just get you some fresh blood in there. You get you some fresh blood in there, because you get the fresh blood in there, and I guarantee you the quality of the work will excel. It will go up. You can't adjust to people who are sub-quality, because everybody gonna be in the gutter. You understand?
Yeah. Yeah.
Everybody gonna be, ooh, it smells awful down here. Because it's the sewer, fool. You know what I mean? We were existing above ground before now, but you done brought us down to this, to your level. And people be like, oh, give a guy a break, or, let a guy shine and all that. You shine? Last time I checked, shit don't shine. Last time I checked, shit stinks. Tell me where I'm lying.
Yeah. I can't play a back-to-back. I can't play a back-to-back game in the NBA. Tired.
Man, if you don't get out of here with that foolishness. Listen, I heard them say, when I heard this, I knew I've always known that our society is going to blazes in a gasoline basket. But when I heard this one right here, this is a few years back now, bro. I don't even know how many years. But when I heard that they were going to take the, what do you call them? The, damn, I can't think of the word right now. What's the word? Not analog. Analog, that's what I was trying to think of. When they were going to take the analog clocks out of the schools.
Oh, wow.
The analog clocks were going to be removed from the schools. Now, ask me, B-Mac, why were they going to remove the analog clocks? Ask me.
They couldn't tell the time, man.
There you go. Now,
They couldn't tell
wait a minute. The analog clocks. Listen, for everybody that's out there listening to this comment, please open your ears as wide as you can. Clean the wax out and everything, because I want you to hear this very clearly. The analog clocks are in school, okay? School. You send your children to school, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if the analog clock is in school, but your child can't read the time, whose fault is that?
You as a parent, the school.
Not the school.
Yeah.
The clock is at the school.
Yeah.
So if your child that's being sent to the school can't read the clock, it's not the school's fault. Did the school put the clothes on your child's back and shoes on their feet before they walked through the damn door that morning?
Could they spell their name first, middle, and last? Do they know their address? Do they spell everything? Do they know their zip code?
Do they know their phone number at home?
Do they know their phone number? Wait, come on. You know, as kids, when I went, they didn't know they certain things. That was back in the 70s and 80s.
And that was the problem of their household. That ain't had nothing to do with you.
I remember one kid, he had a long last name. His name was Parmigiani. And we all had to spell our names, with the address. And he couldn't spell his last name. We were like in first grade. He could not spell his last name for nothing.
Now, I'm going to tell you something. People going to get mad when I say this. If you couldn't tell time, you can't spell your name, you don't know your home phone number, you don't know these things, but you're being sent to be around these other kids. Excuse me, not kids, I meant to say children. When you're being brought into these circumstances, the people who are your parents shouldn't be allowed to have children.
Yeah.
They shouldn't. They just two mammals sleeping on each other, procreating, and but you look out here in our society today, and this is the result of that: generations of foolishness, breeding.
Yeah.
That's all they doing, breeding.
People that shouldn't have kids having kids. Yes, I see it every day. See it every day. Yeah. I remember talking to a young kid about the analog clock. I didn't know that they couldn't read the analog clock. So I explained it to him. I said, this is the second hand. This is the minute. This is the hour. They didn't know. And they couldn't break down the lines without the numbers on there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 12. They couldn't do it. They couldn't break down the minute. The 5 minute, he broke it. They don't know what you mean when you say a quarter of, a quarter after.
Because they're not being taught, brother. They're not being taught. See, you don't learn that stuff by osmosis.
Yeah.
It has to be taught. But guess what they do know? Guess what they do know, though? They know how to twerk, huh? They know how to twerk, huh? They know how to grab their crotch and everything and say foul language and words, huh? They know how to do that, right? They can have earrings in their ear. If they little boys, they can have earrings in their ear, 7, 6 years old, wearing Air Jordans.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah, it's sad. Thank God for my
but they
mom
can't.
and dad,
But they can't spell Air Jordan.
No.
What's wrong with this place, man?
Yeah. Over here in Jersey, they had I think an IQ test, some type of test, some kind of standardized test, and the kids were failing. So instead of trying to get the kids in shape for it, they had them change the test.
No, man. I'm telling you.
They had them change the test.
You have to hold people accountable. You have to hold people accountable. Remember, there was once this thing where they were saying certain exams and stuff weren't fit for people of color. because it was
Yeah,
like
the
it was designed for you to fail or for you to not, compete well or whatever. But the whole real point of it is about teaching. And
Yeah,
if
they
you
wanna
don't
teach.
have proper teaching and instruction and direction for correction, you have to find that so you can elevate. You can't dumb something down and make it where everybody, again, when you start to do those things, you erase the lines of levels of discipline. When you can't be, if you're not that good, you don't get a trophy.
Yes.
If you're not well enough to advance, you fail.
Yes.
But failing should not be an option. It should be a circumstance of actions, but it should not be your option. It should be, if I fail, I got to find a way to overcome. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Now we're getting into the principles about what I talk about, the sport of boxing and coaching. If you're not good enough, you don't accept, I'm not good enough. You work on how to get better. Now, you may not ever reach the pinnacle of being the best, but the best you will be better than the old you ever was, as long as you make the attempt for an adjustment. If you were to mess your clothes, and you're not far from home, you may only be a couple of blocks away, you messed your clothes. And I'm keeping it clean by saying it that way. But if you messed your clothes, are you going to turn around and go back home and change? Or are you just going to go on with your day and go out there with messed clothes? Huh? That's a but hold on. There are some who will. Do you understand? That's what I want you to understand here, B-Mac.
Yeah.
There are some who will go on out there for the rest of their day. And people are holding their nose and walking away from them and like, oh my God, what the? But to make the decision to go back, clean yourself up, and put on new attire and then go. You might be running late, yes. But you got a doggone good reason that you're running late, don't you? Huh? But I'm saying that for a reason because
what you're running late and you tell them what happened.
But I'm saying that for a reason because it's an adjustment, brother. It's an adjustment. You were put in a position of discomfort. You were put in a position of where something was made difficult for you. And you have to reassess and make an adjustment and then go forward. Is that not unlike what we talk about in the sport when you say a guy needs to make adjustments? Yeah, because things are not necessarily going his way right now, so he needs to try to do something a different way or different tactic or something to now realign things to make him in a more comfortable competing position. But if you don't do that, if you don't even have the mindset to be able to have resolution, then you're going to have these difficulties. And it's a poor person that's going to sit back and say, hey, well, it is what it is. Huh? Isn't that one of the most ignorant statements? It is what it is. It is.
Yeah, because they don't want to figure it out.
Yeah. But I'm going to tell you this, though. How many of us have said that? It is what it is.
Yeah.
But a lot of us say it because that's the thing to say, right?
Yeah.
But you really shouldn't, and I'm going to tell you why. You shouldn't be doing what everybody else is doing.
Yeah.
You can't hold me accountable for what Joe is doing over here. You can't hold me accountable for what Susie did over there. Hold me accountable for what Stormy B-Man do and say.
Yeah.
But this is our society, man.
Yeah.
Okay, now we got some changes in the poll. It's now up to 47% for Hergovic and Joyce fight. People are saying that gave them what they wanted. But Zoo and Spencer is still in a close second at 42%. That's interesting.
I can't even vote. I ain't seen neither one of them.
Yeah. Well, the good thing is
I'm F plus.
the good thing is that you could go back.
Yeah, I got to go back and catch
and watch these fights on replay. It's pretty good. You know, it's pretty good that they were all on networks where we can go back and pull them up again.
Yeah, that's good. That's what I got to do when you old and fall asleep all the time.
Yeah.
Put these 12-hour shifts in. I'll be too tired. Oh, God, I got to get up early.
Right.
Yeah. I went to the gym today, man. I was trying to get some tips from you.
Oh, yeah?
When I was sparring, I got a problem with, I shoot my jab, but having the right hand land and getting close enough to them. You know, they be out of range, so I don't want to reach. They keep moving and it bothers me.
Well, you do know that technically, when you shoot the jab, you have to step with the jab.
Yeah, I'm stepping. And they stepping away.
No. When you step with the jab, if they're moving away, then you're jabbing before you get within range. So you got to get your footwork behind you to close the distance. Feints and timing will give you an advantage. You don't feint for the sake of feinting. You feint to see what a person does, because the feint should be a fake movement of how your execution of the punch is going to be. This is why, again, when I talk about these coaches and trainers of today, they don't teach what's supposed to be taught. You get guys out there that just be jumping and lunging at each other. Like, they call that a feint. But a feint should be something that if I do it, you can't tell the difference of when I throw my punch or I do that. It's deceptive. But your footwork should always be able to carry you through. If your footwork is within a place of where your toe can touch the opponent's toe, you're close enough to touch them. That doesn't mean you'll score a solid shot. You're close enough to touch them. If your toe is on the outside, which it should always be, that's why it's called a battle of positions. If your toe is on the outside of where the opponent's foot is, and your toe is near what would be called the instep of where his foot's instep would be, you could land a solid shot. This is without you even letting your hands go. This is about foot position. This is why the old trainers used to have you shadow box a lot. That hitting the pads and stuff. You know what the funny thing about hitting the pads is? You got somebody standing there holding the pads for you, and the pads are always within range for you to hit them, right?
Yeah.
But in live action, who the hell is going to stay within range for you to hit them?
Yeah.
Now, do you
Only
see?
thing I can say with the pads do well, because I understand you with shadow box. Shadow boxes help tremendous. It actually builds your punches up, your shoulders. It helps more than hitting the bag, believe it or not. But the pads, I say, it teaches you how to place your punches correctly, even though you're not getting hit back. But it kind of teaches you how to throw better.
Can't you do that on the bag?
What's that? Yeah, you can do it on the bag too, though. But having somebody stand in front of you with it, it's a little different than the bag.
It's different,
and
but it's not better.
Yeah, it's not necessarily better, but your punches on the bag, yeah, you punch correctly and all of that, and you pivot and you move. But when you do pad work, I like both. I like the shadow box because you emphasize that, and I went heavy on it. And I was training with at that time I was training with Boot's older brother, and he had me shadow box for like 2 weeks straight, and it got my jab so strong I couldn't believe it. And I thought of you with my jab because I wasn't hitting the bag, I wasn't hitting no pad, I wasn't hitting none. I'm just shadow box because he didn't like my fundamentals. And when I went back to that bag, man, my jab was so strong, it was crazy.
Yeah, if I could have my way, I would have all the pads in the world thrown into a ditch and burned.
You hate the pads. I like the pads. No. I like it. It ain't that bad. I like the pads. But I see what you're saying. All the old guys come to me. Let
me give you an example. Let me give you an example of that. Something that is really tangible. A stationary bike as opposed to going for a bike ride.
Yeah.
What's the difference?
Well, it's a big difference.
Tell me. I want to hear from you.
Well, the stationary bike, you're not steering. You're not getting the full workout of a rail bike.
It's aerobic, isn't it?
Yeah, it's aerobic.
But
you're getting your wing up.
No. It's aerobic. That's it. It's aerobic. But if you go for a bike ride, what is that? It is exercise. Do you see the difference?
Yeah.
Do you see that?
It's like sparring. Man, you don't even got to throw that many punches in there. You're going to be dripping wet.
Well, see, the thing about sparring is this. You get guys, what they've turned sparring into in present day boxing is fighting in the gym with pads and headgear and mouthpieces. Mm-hmm. There's very little teaching going on in there. Mm-hmm. Very little. Because if I ain't got you in there sparring, we should always be working on something. Mm-hmm. There are principles of sparring where you should be working on finishing your technique of landing your punches correctly, turning them over, turning your punches over. Okay? Punching with accuracy and having great placement. You understand? Mm-hmm. There are moments in sparring that trainers and coaches are supposed to be stopping the session. Stop. Yeah, that's what he does. That's what don't do this. Yeah. Don't do this. Don't do that. I need to see more of this from you. I need to see more of that from you. I need to see you do this and do that. Don't be in there trying to rumble and prove yourself to be better than that guy. Because you want to be better than you were yesterday. You understand? Mm-hmm. This is not the fight. Yeah. This is where you learn to fight. There's a difference, brother. They will have you believe when you go into these gyms that, that's what that's all about. Now, you take a body shot in a sparring match and you get hit in your ribs or hit in the solar plexus. You know what that's like now. That's why you got to work on keeping them elbows tight. That's why you got to work on how to turn your body and keep your hands up and things of that nature so you're not catching certain shots. That's what that's supposed to be. Mm-hmm. You hear these guys talking about, I killed old boy in sparring. Or I stopped him in sparring or whatever. It's like, it was sparring. It was practice. It was practice.
Yeah, it's good work.
Do you know when the Chicago Bulls were world champions, Phil Jackson had some of the best players in Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen, right? They would be in practice and they would be blowing out the second team in practice. And Jordan would get taken off of the first practice team and put on the second or the third string team. And they down by 20 or 30 points.
Now he got to figure it out how to get up.
Nah, he ain't got to figure it out to get up. The whole objective is to teach the principle of understanding of what it's like to be behind and not always out front. That's why he didn't have a fear of close games. You understand? Now, sometimes he would take Scotty and do that. But you have two of your most prime players put in a position where the field is never leveled. Which is why when the big moments came, they could step up to those moments.
Yeah.
And the players around them, second and third string players around them, could play with comfort and ease and relax because they're out there and they know that they have a job to do. We know Scotty can do this. We know Mike can do that. If I just do my job here, you see? And then it's able, then you work within that framework.
Yeah. 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 The question you asked a couple weeks ago, I was listening to you on Drew Titan show. Y'all do the Sunday show tonight.
Yeah.
The guy, I guess he was around Mike Tyson or he knew Mike Tyson, and you asked him about why did Mike Tyson take to Rooney, and you basically described his whole career with that question. Because I always looked at Mike Tyson without Rooney, he was a shell of himself.
Yeah.
But that solidified it when you asked that question. He answered it, and he said that Rooney can mimic Customato.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's it right there. Because I always looked at Mike Tyson after Rooney left. I said, something's wrong. I couldn't figure it out. I was just like, something's wrong. I thought it was the party, but it was more so the party and Rooney's not there. Mainly Rudy.
Yeah.
That ruined him. And it's shocking that Don couldn't see that.
Well, Don only wanted to see what he wanted to see. And it's unfortunate, but there's a lot of people like that. It's not just Don. And I don't want to go into a thing of faulting Don because Mike was still, Mike was still an adult. He was still an adult. In other words, if Mike knew that having all those lovelies that Don was able to send his way and introduce him to and all of that, and that his celebrity gave him access to, couldn't Mike see that Kevin was good for him as well? Did you understand?
Kevin kept all that away from him. Kevin wouldn't have had them around.
Well, that's why it was on Mike.
Mike was too immature.
No.
He was too immature and protected. And
No. Listen. What you're saying right now, B-Mac, and I'm not coming at you, but I'm speaking emphatically because I want you and the audience that's listening to understand. He was too immature. He was too immature to be screwing all them women, too.
Yeah, he was.
He was too immature to be doing a lot of the things that he was doing because he had the access to do it and the celebrity to do it. So what you're saying is it was about his choices. Sometimes you have to be able to choose for your best interest. If you don't and aren't able to do that, then you suffer the consequences behind what transpires.
What happened with his whole career.
And so therefore, the onus is on you. You see what I'm saying?
It's on him, but Rooney knew how to hide that from him because in my way, it's on him. He's a man. He's grown. It's all his decisions, and he got to deal with it. But them raising him up with Customato and them, they knew how to hide his deficiencies. Because they knew him, that he was, he wasn't going to do the right thing.
Brother, you listen, I keep saying it, and I just said it a moment ago. You're making excuses for this man. Everyone has...
it is.
B-Mac, hold on. Let me speak, please. Everyone has deficiencies, shortcomings, flaws. Life is not about hiding them. Life is about helping to build in those areas of where you fall short and weak, and provide a space filling, a link to know that even though you have setbacks and shortcomings, the strengths of where you work to get better in those areas can level you out as a person. If you do not work at that, they can become glaring and they can overwhelm and overtake you as a person, as an individual. This has nothing to do with boxing and what I'm saying. It has everything to do with character. Because it's just like feeding a child sweets and cakes and cookies and things of that nature. That they'll eat it because it tastes good. But it's not nourishing to make that a diet. Am I right? Even though you're consuming food product. So if you don't introduce them to the good things that they're supposed to have, the greens, the veggies, and things of that nature, okay? Proteins, carbs, and certain types of meats and things like that, that's nice for the palate, yeah. But in order to have a more balanced way of nourishing, you have to do these other things. If you don't, then they will suffer. You know, I grew up around a couple of different people that I met in life. And two different people, they told me, man, I don't eat vegetables. I was like, damn. You don't eat no vegetables
I heard people
at
say
all?
they don't drink water.
I don't eat vegetables. I don't like them. I'm like, in my mind, I'm thinking like, man, how do you even make it? You know, it's like you need vegetables. You really do. And like what you just said, there's people that say they don't drink water.
Yeah, I had I don't like water. I don't like the way it tastes.
Your body
water
is,
don't have a taste.
Your body is like 80%, 90% water. You need water.
Soda, juice. Never drunk water. Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. But that question was an excellent question. It summed it up with Mike. And well, Mike was going to be destructive because of how he was, just the way you explained it. So if it didn't happen then, it would have happened later.
No, that's not true. Life is about choices.
Yeah.
Had he made different choices, he could have had different results.
Yeah.
That's it in a nutshell. It's not a science. It's not anything to really look. Listen. His nemesis, Holyfield. He wasn't perfect. As a career fighter, he was exciting and people liked what he brought to the ring and everything. But outside the ring, he had a lot of problems with women.
Yeah.
And he has children. As a result of these things. So again, those were his shortcomings. Do you understand? I'm not trying to put his business out there like a bad person. What I'm trying to say is the reality. The reality, we all have our issues. There have been some fighters who had drug and substance abuse problems. Michael Dokes. Michael Dokes was one heck of a heavyweight fighter, but he couldn't leave that powder alone, man. And he paid dearly for it, and his life ended too soon as a result. There's a number of circumstances that we can find that are both relative and things that are unfamiliar, but at the same time, it's about the process of what I'm speaking. It's you. This is why you need to hold fast. See, there's a reason that they say it takes a village to raise a child. That reason is because even if what your parents' life experience is, someone in the community has some type of experience that they can add in addition to that child's growth and development. And someone further still who may have lived even longer can add to that child's growth and experience and so forth and so on. And this is how you become what they used to call well-rounded. You don't speak of children of today as being well-rounded. And there's a reason, because there's a disconnect from society and community and the links that is supposed to help to cultivate. If anything, the children of today attack the experienced, the elderly, those who could have given them game, as the word is like to be thrown about today. They don't have an appreciation for that at all. They don't care. It's the I don't give a F mentality, right? And what does that get you? An early grave or life behind bars. Yeah. But it's about choices, because if you learn from an environment that can teach you about conflict resolution, that means the ability to solve problems and issues that may arise. You don't even know what they could be, but you could be prepared due to someone having placed you in a position to become a critical thinker. Yeah, that makes a difference.
Yeah. Well, I don't want to hog up your line. Get somebody else to talk. I've been talking to you too long.
Yeah, man, you've been holding up my line, man. I got people outside. They like, what's this guy doing holding up Stormy? But no, I appreciate you, B-Man.
Because a couple times I wanted to call in, but I was just listening to the callers. They was asking good questions, good combo. So I couldn't call in the last couple weeks.
No, it's okay, man. I like when you call, because I like to joke with you, when you call in. But I appreciate you, brother. I appreciate you and, the support that you give the channel and everything.
Well, I appreciate you. I got to support more, As soon as I get these bills paid, these taxes, get these taxes paid, I support.
Yeah.
Buy some T-shirts.
Get you some of that gear, man. Get you some of that gear. Because, Stormy B-Man gear is pretty good.
All the time. I got to support you because you put in the time and you always on. You ain't got to be on. Because I don't listen to regular sports radio. I listen to you and, the LBBC stuff. I listen to that for my sports. It's a blessing, this YouTube, what you guys do. Because for the last, almost 10 years now, I done cut regular radio off. I don't listen to no sports radio. None at all. That's all I used to listen to.
It's funny how when it's being revealed to you how inadequate and insufficient that they can be, right? And superficial.
Yeah.
Because they don't want to ask tough questions. They don't want to ask things that could give. Do you know, and I know you say you're getting ready to go, but I'm just going to put this out there. Mm-hmm. Just before I went live, I was listening to the post-fight interview with Hergovic after his fight with Joyce yesterday. And that guy, Radio Raheem, was asking questions. No, listen, this is really weird. Now, Hergovic has stated in the press conference, he was saying like he took the fight on 5-week notice, and he felt like if he had a longer and a stronger camp, he could have been better. That's what Hergovic was saying. So he was talking and in essence has said that he didn't think that he was really at his best against Joyce because he wasn't the original opponent. Dillian White was. And so Radio Raheem had asked a couple of questions, and then he comes back and asks Hergovic, well, why do you say you weren't at your best? And I'm like, you fool.
He just said he had a 5-week camp.
He just said he had a 5-week camp, and he didn't have a full camp to prepare for Joe Joyce. But you're asking him, why wasn't he at his best? You see, and that kind of thing right there, how foolish it is, because if someone is mentally strong, then they look at you a different way when you ask a question like that, even after I've spoken. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But instead of asking a challenging question, which like put me in that place, what I would have asked Hergovic is, what do you think it will require for you to be more diligent in your preparation for fights. You see the difference?
Putting the onus on him.
Do you see the difference?
Yeah.
So that's what you get from me when I be on with Drew and we talk to these people, because I understand how it works. But I also understand that when you ask of them in a certain regard, you like what you just said about putting the onus on them, you sometimes will even put them in a position to consider something that they may not have even thought about because no one has presented it to them in that way.
Yeah.
That's all.
Look at it that way. Like, you took the fight. You didn't have to take it. So,
there you go.
you know, I mean, you ready. You ready to go? Ready to go. This is what it is.
There you
There
go.
go the money.
There you go. So,
Yeah. All right, Stormy B, man.
okay, man. I appreciate you again, man. You take it easy. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday, man.
Appreciate you.
All
Peace.
right. Peace, bro. All right. That's the brother B-Mac out there calling in, supporting the show. Appreciate that. Yeah. Let's see here. Trying to get my imagery going. Let's see here. Yeah. So, we had a few more people come into the building. We got Black Martial Arts Society out there. What's good with you, brother? Geo James Khalil. Of course, we had Coach Hudson come into the building. And who else? Oh, boy. Boxing and Barbecue. What's happening with you? NBA D Nice. Lisa G is out there saying, just a question. Why the robot sound effects on the caller's voice? Easier to understand, normal without echoes and robot effect. Lisa G, that's not by my doing. That's Google and the call. One thing I didn't get a chance to do before B-Mac called in, because he called in so fast, I didn't get a chance to adjust my audio output for the calls, because typically when people call, I have to raise the level of the audio for the calls, and I didn't even get a chance to do that because I was only 2 minutes into talking before B-Mac called in. So, but no, I'm not putting an effect on that. Plus, if people are speaking on a Bluetooth and not just directly into the phone, sometimes the Google Voice line gives a weird feedback and everything. That's why a person shouldn't be talking on their Bluetooth. Just turn your Bluetooth off and just talk on the phone. Let it be natural audio. You know, mouth to speaker, that kind of thing. So I hope that answers your question. Yeah. Going back to this poll for a minute, it's saying that Spencer Zoo and Joyce Hergovic are now tied pretty much at 43%. For which card gave him the most. And Shawa, thank you, because I forgot about the Janabek and Anuel fight. I forgot to add that to this poll, because I would have done it, but I thought it was 4 cards, and then there we go. So I appreciate you putting it up there. We got Isaiah GQ in the building. What's happening? Where you been, man? Isaiah GQ, huh? You been out there, man, peeping through the blinds in the bushes, not even showing up to let Stormy see that you out there, man. Vince Vilborn, what's happening? I see you out there. Yeah. So I forgot the Janabek card. So if someone favors the Janabek card, you can write that in. But these were the 4 that I remembered to speak on. Yeah. Yeah. And Vince, is it Villeborn or Vileborn? Please assist in me saying it correctly, because I don't like shredding people's names. I try to pronounce names correctly, but sometimes, I am, human. I mess up. So, you know what I mean? I just call you Double V. You understand? So. Boxing and Barbecue said the Janibek card was boring. Yeah. That Tim Zoo card was kind of interesting when I got a chance to tune into it. Like Shawa mentioned earlier, those heavyweights on there, they were kind of going at it. I got the Pro Box TV card playing on my monitor in the backdrop here. Shower says, I was a little upset with all of the cards to some degree. Well, yeah, you know what, Shower? They were not all wholesome and complete. They all had issues. There were still some judging issues on these cards. Because that Gonzalez fight with Coolwell, man, Coolwell outboxed Gonzalez. And I know that Robert Garcia is popular and everything, but his fighter didn't win that fight. Why did they just they took the fight from the kid Coolwell, even though he lost to Shushu. He lost legitimate to Shushu. Shushu beat him up and dropped him a couple of times. But he came back and he was boxing. He was sticking. He was moving. He was letting his hands go. He fought exactly how you would want a fighter to fight. And they scored that fight as if he had done nothing. Shower says, maybe I was just in the mood yesterday. No, I feel you, what you had to say about that. I feel you on that. Universal says, Torres Vianello card for me. I believe the Mason fight was very telling. Yeah. Abdullah is, he's good. He's good, but I can hear his dad reminding him of stuff outside the ring. He's got to get his act together, though. He's a little bit too, what's the word I want to use? He likes to engage too much. He doesn't know how to adjust the levels. And he's going to have to learn that, because a real experienced fighter can get that to work against him. That doesn't mean defeat him, but give him some issues. Hendog is asking, what was that co-main yesterday on the Spencer versus Tim fight? I didn't see that because I was still watching the wrap-up of Vianello and Torres, so I missed it. Shower says he needs to work on fighting southpaws. Yeah. The key to fighting southpaws for orthodox fighters is an orthodox fighter has to realize the closer you are to a southpaw, the less his southpaw position is of an advantage. And vice versa. For an orthodox fighter for a southpaw, the closer a southpaw is to the orthodox fighter, the less the contrasting position should be of issue. Yeah. That's something the guys have to realize. Hen Dog was like, man, that was trash. It had some random guys in there. Yeah, hey, listen, man. That was over there, right, in Australia. Remember, they're never going to put nothing on too good before Tim because Tim is the focus. Didn't I talk about that earlier? They're trying to market that guy as some kind of superstar, like he's Michael Jackson of boxing in Australia. I'm serious. Shower says all season Samoans. Yeah, man. It takes what's his name? Shock G from Digital Underground. Samoans do the Humpty Hump. Do the Humpty Hump. They're all inclusive. Yep. Yeah, Hen Dog. Spencer did. He went deep sea diving over there in Australia, huh? It's a wonder if he came up with some shrimps, huh? Because it was like, what was that, man? And I don't know if Spencer thought because he gonna wear that old look like trailer trash goatee and beard. Listen, we know it was you, Joey, huh? That beard didn't hide your face, huh? And anyway, we don't know which is your face because you definitely showed us your ass, huh? With that performance over there. I don't want to see Joey Spencer again, huh? Put his ass on a milk carton. Yeah. Shit. Sometimes these guys are like, salute to T. Berry out there. Boston Barbecue says, it fooled me a little that Mr. Potato Head disguise. Yeah, all he needed was that them glasses with the fake nose on it. It was like, who is that guy? Joseph Spencer. Shit. He come out there, man. Straight up laid down, man. You know what? He can't even pretend. You understand? He can't even pretend. Hold on a second, Shower. Hold on. Okay, Shower, try it now. Try it now, Shower. Try it now. Queen 71 says, is there another choice for the poll? No, I just was like, which card gave you, you know, what you were looking for in boxing yesterday? And I forgot to put Janabek up there against Anuel, the French guy. Okay, we got Shower in the building. What's happening with you, Shower? Good morning to you.
Howdy, neighbor. How are you?
Good, good.
Oh, man. Yeah, last night I was a little perturbed with some of them fights, but Joey Spencer, I didn't think he'd go in there and do that mess, but
he looked really bad.
Yeah, and then the way he was leaned up against the corner at the end, like he did something. He's a fool. He's a fool for that. What I think was really messed up with that is he said that his favorite fighter was James Toney, and I was thinking to myself, you big dummy, you know,
Yeah,
you don't fight. He's not consistent anyway. In his style. So last night I honestly thought he was trying out a new style with the stance he had with his chin blocked and the hand out. Because the other times he's tried to do a shell. Other times it's like he can't figure out what the heck he wants to do. I just don't know I don't know. He definitely just laid down last night. That was upsetting. And Tim, yeah. I mean, Tim, yeah, whatever. I'm still not.
and I'm gonna tell you something. In those first 3 rounds,
Mm-hmm.
Tim didn't look good.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't look good at all. He looked like a guy that's uncertain of himself and looks like a guy. So that's exactly what. And they probably did give Joey a little extra love, but you know, whatever they gave him is not enough to make up for what he did. See, that's what guys need to learn. You know, even like out here in these YouTube streets, we've got guys who have sold their channels, you know, and have compromised things that should be principles that you believe in and stand on just for a quick settlement of access. And where integrity lies, you lose that. And those who respect the aspect of integrity, you can get angry about them holding the line of discipline of having respect for integrity, but once you've given that up, man, you know, you're nothing. And
I don't think there's no coming back because you done publicly picked, you know, you publicly made a fool of yourself to me. But yeah.
And that's what Joey did yesterday. And he has been a friend to the community, but at the same time, I'm like, you know what? If you were gonna go over there to do that, you could just stop boxing.
Yeah, that man did not throw no punches. And like you said, Tim didn't look good the first few rounds, and then when he figured that, okay, there's no fire coming back, then, you know, of course, he just goes ham. And you know, it's great to have your people standing behind you and cheering you on. But I mean, come on, Joey, you could have did something, dude. You could have put up some kind of fight to make it look like, you know, he had some opposition. It was just very disappointing. The heavyweight cards, again, to me, okay, the heavyweight card that came on before Zoo, them two dudes look better to me than Torres and Guido.
Yeah.
As well as
and Guido
I
looked
don't know.
horrible, didn't he? He looked like
Yeah.
he didn't have a clue. Like, okay, see, now this is the aspect of why I go in on these guys and their trainers so toughly, Shareable, because what the hell was he training for?
He didn't train to fight a smaller guy, that's for sure.
Whatever he trained to do, it wasn't what he did last night. Because all of that grappling and hugging and putting people
'Cause he
in
didn't know what to
headlocks and
do.
under your armpit, all of that stuff, he looked like a Italian version of Lawrence Okolie to me. You know?
My gosh, yes. But he didn't know what to do.
He
Stormy.
didn't.
And you could tell he didn't, because when he finally kind of figured something out, he was doing slapping punches to the sides of Torres's body and stuff. And it's, you know, he finally almost kind of figured out, just keep the dang jab out there to keep the man at bay. But he don't even know how to jab. It was bad.
This
It was
is
a
why.
debacle, man.
Now think about it. Now we've seen him on TV a lot, right? So it's like,
Yeah.
what is really going on? And I have to say it this way: he was intimidated of Joe, Richard Torres. He was intimidated because he fought like, if you ever saw Frank Bruno when he fought Mike Tyson in their second fight. In the first fight, Bruno actually tried to fight Mike Tyson and did fairly well for 4 or 5 rounds before he got stopped. But in the second fight, he was scared to death of Tyson. I don't know why. Tyson had been away from the game for like 3 years or so and was just coming back after a comeback fight or two. But he was scared to death of Tyson in that second fight. And that's how Villanello looked against Torres. He looked scared. The only thing he wasn't doing that Bruno was doing was crossing himself. You know?
I think last night when I was looking at it, I felt like when you look back at Villanello's fights, he's fighting guys that were more his stature and range, the length. So, you know, he was used to fighting them on that outside, and, you know, like think of him and Johnny Rice, for instance, or even he even looked better against I call him Tick, but was it Makhmudov?
Yeah.
But it's the bigger guys, and he's used to being able to fight at a distance. So I think he was intimidated by the fact that this little man was coming in there to whoop, you know, I don't want to cuss on your channel. He was coming in there to whoop his tail and on the inside, and he did not know what to do with that. And I'm like, how did you train to fight him? You're not a call-in. You had the full, 8 weeks to get in line for this. I don't know. That one. Then what the heck was Joe Joyce hitting at the end? All them punches to that man's shoulder and chest. I was like, what is going on? You had this man pinned in the corner and you couldn't hit his head not one time. Oh, you know, I don't know. I was upset. And all of them gassing in round 2, 3. I was like, man, look.
That's what I noticed too. I noticed that these guys, they don't have stamina, they don't train, and they come in with this excess weight. It's like, and I'm gonna tell you to go along with that. And it's not just the heavyweights. I don't remember a time in history of boxing that I have seen so many guys miss weight. It's like this era of fighters, you got all these guys missing weight. They just don't want to train and get in shape.
Yeah.
They don't.
It used to be for shame. You used to be shamed.
Yeah. And you look like a real, you look like a real unprofessional coming in, busting the scales. And back in the day, there was a light heavyweight champion. I I think it was Michael Spinks. He was supposed to be fighting Eddie Gregory, who became Eddie Mustafa Muhammad, who later became a quality boxing trainer. They were supposed to have a fight on HBO. And Eddie Gregory didn't make weight. Now, he said they messed with the scales or whatever, but Spinks held fast to, he was like, he didn't make weight. I ain't fighting him. And so the fight was called off like the day before the fight or the day of the fight, because I think back then it might have been the same day, same day fight. And the fight got called off. And there was a big brouhaha about it. But you don't see a lot of guys from the past missing weight. But these times, and some of these guys are coming in. I can understand missing weight by a pound or two, but we're seeing guys like 6, 12 pounds overweight. It's like, what the devil is going on?
And they know, you know your butt is coming in. And even, we'll just say 5 pounds overweight. You know that. So why even come? Why even show up? Why not just say, hey, look, I wasn't able to do it. I ain't gonna be able to make it. I failed.
Well, I'm gonna tell you,
these people
too,
just shrug it off. Ugh.
I'm gonna tell you too. There's a lot of okay, you hear people complaining about what this new arrangement with TKO with Turkey and Dana White. They want to eliminate the junior weight classes.
Right.
Which, again, if you could get it back to 8 weight divisions, what happens is guys will fight within their weights.
Right.
Now,
Absolutely.
you could have 2 guys who are 147 pounders, right? One could be a 147 pounder with no problem. The other could be a guy who really is probably should be fighting either in the middleweight division or the lightweight division. Do you understand? I'm not saying both, but one or the other. The one who makes 147 with no problem, that's a welterweight. But a guy who could really be a few pounds under middleweight should be fighting at middleweight. A guy who can't make lightweight should be 147. And see, there's too much room to play in boxing now, especially when guys don't fight as frequently as they need to, and they don't get in the shape or stay in shape, fighting shape. You should always be within 10 to 12 pounds of your fight weight. The reason being is because if you get a call for a fight, usually you have a few weeks. Usually. Let's just say 3 weeks and out is when a guy could get a call for a fight. If you're within fight weight, 10 to 12 pounds, that's not a lot of weight to lose over those weeks.
Right.
Because if you're a guy that really stays solidly close to your weight, it's not going to be an issue whatsoever. But we got guys who walk around 20 pounds over what they list as their weight division. That's horrible.
And I feel like at that rate, I mean, if you're not out of shape, because a lot of these guys suck down so much, then you're just not fighting in the weight class you need to. So get your little butt up to a heavier weight. But I don't,
That's like people talking about Bud Crawford, right, facing Canelo. And they're like, man, he too little for Canelo or whatever. I'm going to tell you something. There's a huge probability that when they get ready to fight, that's probably a weight class where Bud should be fighting anyway.
Bud, I heard him specifically say at one point that he was walking around at 180 pounds. So,
this is why I'm telling you what I'm telling you. It's like these guys, when they have learned how to cut weight, they can do things to get to a weight and they know that they have 24 hours, sometimes a little more than 24 hours to rehydrate and everything, and they get to a point where they put on all this weight, and a guy who's like really naturally at the weight might put on no more than 6 or 7 pounds because he's eating like he want to eat or whatever, and that's that. Well, that guy that blew up 18 to 20 pounds, all of a sudden you're in there with a monster now, and
Yeah.
it's very unfair. But like I said, you
think so.
eliminate those weight divisions, those junior weight divisions. What happens is you make people face the reality of where they truly are. You're either 147 or you're 135 or 160. There's no in between, And I use 147 as an example because that's a perfect weight class division to showcase the points of what I'm talking about.
So I wanted to ask you, when you were going off yesterday from your post, the Jahai Tucker fight had started. Yeah, I know you watched that back. What'd you think about his performance?
He better stay the hell away from Janabek. I know that.
Yep.
Because, and when I did that video, mind you, it was based on an article that I had saw with, an interview what they had done with boxing scene. It's not necessarily my opinions and thoughts, but, sometimes putting that information out there because it's like, this is what's being talked about. But I think that he suffers a lot from what Emma Williams suffered from. Outside the ring, there's some issues there with that young man. You can see it. And it's like, he's almost like somebody you can't tell him nothing.
Well, I said that on your comments there. He don't like to listen to his father. That's evident. But what's the purpose of having that man be your coach then?
But see, this is the other thing about that. And I think I'm going to do something in the near future about dad trainers in boxing. Just because I take my son to the gym when he's a little boy and I want him to learn to box and everything, and I'm going to teach him and this and that don't make me a boxing trainer. Even though that he may start boxing amateur and you get him some fights and they get it all set up and you get your amateurs coaching license with the ABA and all of that, that's fine. You get to a point where you say, you want to do this for professional, son? There, let's turn pro. It's like, listen, there are people who have done this for careers. You just became a dad when that boy was born. Huh? Just because you have children don't mean you know boxing like that. It's one of the things that I respect about Bill Haney and what he's done with Devin, because he's always brought Devin around capable people. The one thing that I and I want to talk to Bill before I talk about that on the air, because I want to give him a chance to explain certain things to me. But at least I can give him credit for that he's taken Devin around capable people. He has had a wealth of experience from boxing gyms and coaches and trainers around him. That is something that is very commendable. But a lot of these dad coaches, they think they know better than everybody else. And then some of them have even gotten to a point where they start a gym and all of that. And it's like, okay, but that doesn't make you capable. That doesn't mean that you know the things that you need to know or should know or whatever. And lastly, when you could see that they don't want to bring anybody else in to assist, to help them get from this point to that point, see, that shows up. It's showing up amongst a lot of these guys. And
but why do you think that is? Why do you think they would be hesitant to bring someone in to to help their child.
Because if
Want the child to
if
be
they're
great.
looking at how they can make money, they don't want to share no money. They don't, it's like it comes back to that. Money is like definitely a driving factor. A capable coach and trainer could bring some elements, but it's a conversation that should be had between a parental guardian and guardship over a fighter, because if you remember, one thing I like to give Sylvester Stallone credit about his Rocky films, like the first two films were made off of a story that he had come up with based on some real life situations. And they never expected Rocky to get popular like that. But when he started with Rocky 3 and each subsequent sequel after that, what he was able to do is take elements about the sport of boxing and put it in the film surrounding the characters, but it's a reality. Like in his, I guess it's the Rocky 5 film, if I'm not mistaken, with Tommy Morrison. And he was having relationship issues with his son. Rocky was. And then he met Tommy Gunn. And Tommy Gunn wanted to come to Philly where he hoped to meet Rocky and maybe get trained by him or get some of that stardust off of Rocky, because he hadn't found that Rocky had fallen on hard times and was back in Philly. So, but Tommy Gunn, we didn't know who he was or where he was from. He just showed up, right? And there's people like that out there in real life. But Rocky, who didn't mind trying to pass on to someone, he was ready to pass it on to Tommy Gunn, who he had no real relationship with and didn't know, instead of passing those principles on to his son, And the irony is, Adrian told him in the movie, you should be giving this to your son. You shouldn't be just giving that to, and if you give it to your son first, then you can be that patriarchal figure that can give it to others. You know what I mean? Because it can become a foundation of what you do and believe in. Well, see, and that's where I come from with it. I give people, and I've always said this, what I show you here in the gym, you can take out there in the world and apply it every day. And that's what's most important, because this is what's going to help you survive in this situation. In the Rocky 5 film, once Tommy started experiencing some success and everything, he started thinking about money.
Yeah.
And because he wasn't Rocky's blood and son and rare like that, he was always a kid that was wanting something, but he found a way, okay, I can get money now. I want my money. I want money. And that became what was driven. And that's why he left Rocky and got with George Washington Duke in the film. Well, you see, these dads in boxing, they're in that region, that area code of doing the same things. They start to see that, we can make money at this. We can, but you lose again the value of what you've built. Now where the Haneys have done a little bit different and is much more commendable and respectable is the business aspect of it. Devin is his own promoter, and he's a businessman. He's got his own promotional company. The dad works for him now. It's like you see, and his siblings are doing different things in different sports and stuff like that. And even if it's not going to be sports, it's still about being your own boss. You know what I mean? That is invaluable. That's why they really hate it. Because it's not enough people thinking like that to become self-sufficient. And you know, when I become self-sufficient and I learn not only how to eat good fruit, but I have a grove where I can get my fruit from that I've harvested and everything, and now I can teach you how to do it for yourself, so you don't have to go to the grocery store, but you can have your grove. And they don't want nobody doing those kind of things because they need slaves to the system.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the whole society in general.
Yes.
Yes. But here's my thing with that. I think with Bill specifically, I look at him more, because I agree with everything you said, but I think it also boils down to the individual. And are you doing this for self, or are you truly doing this for your child? Because like you said, Devin is the head of DHP. Bill works for Devin. You know what I mean? A lot of these men are in for self. You know, they're carting their son along, I feel like, and they want their son to have something, but they're more concerned about what am I also going to get for myself. And I think Bill, just like you said with the other children, with Sean and with Bella, it's also more about setting them up for themselves, not what can I get out of this too, you know?
Right.
I think it's a difference, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that boils down to individuality to me, and it's kind of sad because we've talked again about some of these people who call themselves coaches, but you're not ensuring that the fighter is well-rounded.
That's why I say, and they don't know they don't, I don't like to say everything because that kind of waters it down, but they don't know enough about the principalities that they need to know, which is which is why the fighters don't graduate beyond a certain point and level. And even in saying that, I don't want to make it seem like I'm trivializing it, because though it's casual to say there are levels to this, but if you're going to be a professional fighter, there are things that you need to know as a professional fighter that just go along with the game in order for you to thrive and survive. One of the things you have to know is how to make adjustments. See, I ain't say nothing about throwing a jab or a right hand, right? I said you have to know how to make adjustments.
I talked about adjustments all the time.
Yeah, and then you have to realize that you have to be able to think about your circumstances of what you're involved in. Mm-hmm. You have to know yourself, what you will and will not do. In other words, there are some fighters that don't mind going toe to toe, right? There's something in you that makes you do that. Then there are some fighters who are safety first minded, which means like, I got to get out of the way of these shots. I got to move. I got to, and see, when you understand those virtues, those are your qualities, you can build around them. Mm-hmm. And you can make what you do. But know that you're going to fight fighters who are the opposite. So when you fight, when you fight them, you have to know what to do with them being the opposite of you. If you got a real aggressive guy, you got to know what to do in those circumstances. If you got a guy who likes to stay away and be crafty and slick and stuff, you got to know what to do when you're in there with them. If you got a guy that is just a plotter or whatever, deal with that. Or if you got a guy who is waiting to see what you're going to do, you know what I mean? You see, all of those things are a factor, right? So when you face them, if you've been prepared properly in the gym, the outcome, whether it's win, lose, or draw, you can't say, I got to go back to the gym and work on XYZ, or we're not going to fight anymore, these kind of guys. You can't say that. You can't say that at that time.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah. Makes too much sense.
But see, this is what I'm saying. A real coach and trainer knows these things. And they also know if my guy is not going to fare good against this particular style, I got to keep him away from it until like we get to where we're trying to go. If we can avoid it for as long as we can, we will. But when the day and time comes that they have to face that opposition, then they have to pull out all the stops in order to put themselves in a position to be successful.
Mm-hmm.
You see?
It makes too much sense.
Yeah, it makes too much sense. But this is the way it's supposed to and should be. But it's not, because you have these people out here, they don't even understand that themselves. There's some of these coaches and trainers out here, what I'm saying right now would benefit them. It's like them having a mini seminar with me saying what I'm saying. But I'm going to tell you something. What I say and what I'm applying here is not done with ego. It's done with life experience and the understanding about fighting, the principles of fighting. But it's ego at the end of the day that will not allow them to be successful, because the ego precedes everything else, and it stops the knowledge. It stops the ability to absorb what is useful. It ends right there with it ends right there, the ego. But see, you put that ego down, what happens is everything can become like a sponge, and you absorb what is useful, and then you can discard what's useless to you.
Right. Makes too much sense to say, but everybody is not working on those levels right there. So, and again, maybe they're not working on the levels because of ego. You know, they ain't even trying to hear what people be saying.
You know what you noticed today that you didn't notice going just back a past generation, and let's just say a past generation. Let's just use Floyd Mayweather Jr. Okay, Floyd Mayweather Jr. going, not him, but his era, and going back, because we're kind of removed from his era now, and these guys presently, the ones who just came up under him, and now they're getting older now, and there's this real total new wave. But what we don't see of guys of today is giving their contemporaries who could become adversaries credit.
Yeah, I talked about that too.
They don't give credit to anyone else.
Yep.
And it's like they look at the guys around them and they talk and act as if they know better than anybody else, or they are better than anyone else. And it's really, really revealing that they don't offer much, because it's almost like if I give him credit, then maybe it diminishes me in some kind of way.
It makes me lesser.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's not true.
And what's funny, those same guys, they are the first ones too to liken themselves to guys of old. And it's like, no. Mm-mm. You're nothing like the old dudes.
Mm-hmm. And
they're delusional.
Yeah, very much so. And you see it's so strong in them now. It's like, man, you can't escape it. It is really out there. But I see it, and I'm like, man, this is really crazy to see some of these guys behave and, show what they show and everything. It's like, really? I don't understand it. I can't see. But it is out there. It's out there.
I think all these things are just a reflection of society and where we've gone. We talk about the people winning and ain't did a dang thing, but you get the ribbon and you get a trophy and you get a prize and you ain't did jack.
Mm-hmm.
And the one individual that has done the work and that truly is the winner, they're just sitting there like, well, dang, what was this all for?
Mm-hmm.
Everybody gonna get it. Yeah. I think that's just part of the society that we're in. It's just these soft people have, taken over, and they made it so that people really are delusional. They feel like they've earned something and did something, and they haven't.
Mm-hmm.
I could think of a lot of people I could name, but I don't want to play that game today.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not going to keep you, though. I got to get ready for work, and I just wanted to know how you felt about that fight, and just to talk about how I was upset with, a couple of those things. I did like the Janabek and Anuel.
Yeah, Anuel, you know what?
Called that one.
What was interesting about that, and I probably didn't spend enough time talking about it in my post fight, but I did say this, what I'm going to say. I'm going to repeat myself. I thought Anuel performed. It's just that Janabek was big. Did you see how much bigger he was? And
I keep talking about it.
I saw some film on Annabelle, and there was none of his opponents that were bigger than him like that, fighting him. And I'm like, Janabek had some weight issues over his last couple of promotions. I remember like when he was going into that Eric Butler fight, he passed out at the scales. Remember that?
Yep.
And then he had another he had another situation where he had to pull out of a fight. And I'm just, something is there that, and I know that there was a point, I think it was Ronnie Shields working with him or something, but Shields wasn't with him.
No, they said he changed his people.
Okay. But
I've been saying that, and I've been asking people, how do you feel about how big that man was last night? Now, Anuel, he's a smaller guy himself.
Right. And
Janabek looked super
big. He did. But you know what was interesting is this. He looked bigger than Annabelle a lot, but if you look at the way that Annabelle fought him, he had Janabek on the back foot.
Yes, man, look, Stormy, I kind of called that fight. I did my breakdowns of each card, like the heads of the cards. I was like right on point with that one. And I said that Janabek is his normal MO is to hold down that center real estate.
Right.
People work around him.
Right.
Anuel had him on the back foot, like you said, but I also said Anuel is a presser. That's all the video you can find on him. He presses. And I said that's going to be right in Janabek's wheelhouse. He'll eat that up, and he did.
Well, this is the thing. It was his size difference. It was the weight because. Let's just say if that advantage was not there, I think the fight goes a different way.
Oh, yes. It would have looked different.
When I talked about it in my breakdown video, I said that if this kid, because we don't know him well, out of France, if he isn't caught like a deer in headlights and the event that fighting for a title don't get to him, this could be a very interesting fight. That's what I said. And it did prove that, but I didn't expect. I'm looking at the TV and I'm like, damn, why does this look like it's two different weight classes? It appeared that way. But even when the guy got hit with some shots, he got rocked and everything. He got dropped, but he was willing to fight. And I'm like, man, some of these young French fighters are pretty darn good. And we don't know them because they don't cover these guys. We just saw that young man fight. We saw the guy that beat Jaime Munguia, Sirachi, and we saw that other Frenchman that beat Chef Clark. Remember?
Yep.
These were all Frenchmen. All Frenchmen. Shower and chat. So it's like, please don't sleep on these guys just because they say they from France. And you don't know them. And they all performed in a way like you didn't expect them in each fight. Like I expect to see Anuel fight again. I want to see him again.
I do too. And I did some other French fighters. I really would like to see these, not just France. They have some in Germany. They're all over the place. I'd like to see them mixed in over here for title contentions, or just not even title contentions, just for fights, because they actually have something to offer.
Yes.
You know, at the end of the day, and a lot of the times and I get it, because they're nationalists, we're nationalists, we're for America, they're for their country.
Yes.
But there's something missing when we're not engaging with these other people from other places. You know, Japan has a huge thing going on over there, and I'm guilty of it myself. You know, I was like, oh, nobody will see Japanese fighters, blah blah. But some of these guys are really good, and we can learn, they can learn. You know, it makes the fight game richer.
Right.
It needs to happen.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know that I'll do no more French videos, but I sure have considered doing some German guys, doing some people that we have not seen or heard before that I come across. I'm like, dang, I can see you beating up on so-and-so.
Right? It's like, man, it's, you know, but I tell you, this is why, and please don't take it like I'm telling you, but do you see why I try to tell people, I say, just watch boxing, just watch it, because it's a sport that tells stories, and the stories are defined by who the subjects are, where they're from, you know, what they've gone through, and all of that. It's like, it's really something, the sport of boxing, which is why it's so different from any other sport, but at the same time, why it should be appreciated for being the one-on-one type deal that it is, because it just it can provide you with so much, but you just have to allow yourself. That's why I try to tell these guys that just because somebody's from your city or your state, it's like that regional stuff, man, get that out of your head.
I can't stand it, but you know what? I be quiet, but yeah, that be getting on my nerves too.
Yeah, but fighters from other parts of the world, they have stories too. And sometimes their stories are important enough to make a difference when you see someone perform in the ring. Like, we got a fight coming up next Saturday. And I know what people are going to be thinking. But my goodness, if they don't pay attention to who those two men are going to be facing each other, there's a story there. And it's like, some people are going to be surprised. I ain't going to be surprised, but there are going to be people with their jaws jacked off of this.
This is all I'm going to say, because, and with that fight specifically in mind, we've seen the last couple of times with this particular fighter what happened with an individual he had to fight. It pays, if you got a little bit of time in your day, to do some film study. It really does, especially if you're out here putting money on this stuff. But even if not, just to get yourself some knowledge about what's real, because a lot of people they're living in La La Land. I don't know, they're not really looking at stuff. They just have a favorite fighter, and I get it. Yeah. But you're going to find out the hard way, and it is what it is.
Yeah. Yeah, so, but yeah, that's...
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, let me get my little butt up on you.
All right, Shareable. Well, I really appreciate your call and great conversation. You know, you always bring something to the show when you call in, so... Thank you for that.
Always good to talk to you, Sensei. I keep learning, and I see in myself the growth from learning. So I appreciate you. But that's it.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Okay.
All right. You take care. Right. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday, huh?
You as well. Chat. Be blessed.
Yeah. All right. Take care.
Bye.
Bye. All right. Great call by Shareable. That's what it's all about. Call in show, have these type of conversations. Let me go back to the poll real quick and see what we got here. Out of 32 votes, Hergovic and Joyce lead the poll right now presently on which card gave you what you wanted. Zoo and Spencer is in a close second at 34%, followed by 19% for Silas versus Cruz, a card that I still got to watch because I didn't get a chance to watch it in its entirety. And then lastly, bringing up the rear, Torres versus Vianello. Vianello he didn't know what to do with I keep wanting to call him Joe Torres. Richard Torres. He didn't know what to do with him. So, that's what it is. And we bring the poll to a close with those numbers. But yeah, we're going to get ready to wrap some things up, but not before hearing from my brother, the Focus Ball. Got to hear from Focus Ball.
Get ready to take your striking game to the next level with the Focus Ball. Dramatically improved footwork, timing, head movement, hand-eye coordination, reflex, and overall fight IQ. It's lightweight and extremely portable, so you can train every time, everywhere. When you don't have a coach to do mimic work, get a Focus Ball. When you don't have a heavy bag to hit, get a Focus Ball. When you don't have a sparring partner, get yourself a Focus Ball. And when you just want to have fun punching and kicking, get a Focus Ball. When you train with the Focus Ball, you train your eyes and your brain to read punches so that you can hit and not get hit. Making this very simple device a must-have for all combat sports athletes and enthusiasts alike. So if you want to take your striking game to the next level, don't wait. Get the Focus Ball now.
Yeah, so that brings us to the end of another Answering the Bell. What a great day, what a great conversation that we were able to have for the sport of boxing. That's one of the things that we like to take pride in, is having the discussion on the sweet science and life in general. But I want to thank everyone that came out and showed a little love and support, participated in the chat. A couple of new faces out there. Hey, that's what's up. Keep coming. Come around, because this is real authentic boxing conversation and talk over here. And as long as there's no foolishness, hey, we're good. You know what I mean? But yeah, we're ready to wrap some things up here and release you all into your Sunday. I hope you got something great planned for yourself for today. And if not, just kick back. If you came in late, catch the show on replay. Share the show. If you're a content creator and you want to share something from here that you felt like was worth speaking on and speaking further, please do so. Feel free. You know, it don't cost nothing to hit that like button. You know? So, with that being said, the Stormy B Man. Shout out to the mighty LDBC. And we'll catch you guys on the next one.
Are you shocked, Mr. Williams?
Only how sloppy your man was.